My name is Anthe Mitrakos. I am founder and editor of Portes magazine. This project started about 13 years ago when my sister and I had this idea to share our love for Greece with our community back in the States, in Chicago. Chicago is where Portes magazine was born, you could say. But it was born of the inspiration that came out of visiting Greece over the summers with our family and visiting family in various places, meeting people, getting to see our culture where it all began, and then kind of taking that back with us back to the States and thinking about it until the next summer, right? So my background is actually in journalism. I've also studied international business and marketing and management, but putting those on the side, journalism got me into interviewing people, and I was always very interested in taking photos. I guess you could say I was always interested in storytelling from a young age. So, for example, in the household, I have 3 siblings. So I used to come up and print. It would actually be in print, like from Microsoft Word back then, print a newsletter, like monthly basis. Yeah, so it was a family newsletter of the family news and like a crossword puzzle or something like that, and just interesting facts. And I would leave it at the door of everyone's bedroom. So, yeah, this is when I was like 12, I suppose. When I was 13, I was first published as a cartoonist in a local Greek American newspaper. I remember I was doing drawings of Aesop's fables.
No way.
Yeah, so that was pretty fun. And back then there was like no Photoshop, nothing. At least I didn't have access to it. I was 13, and so I was hand drawing these things, and I was kind of like writing everything out in Greek, in ancient Greek, and in English, and then cutting it up, putting it together like on a strip of paper, and then scanning it and sending it off. And then I was waiting for it to be printed in the paper. So I guess you could say, yeah, I've always had an interest and a love for storytelling. That's one passion. And then, of course, like the passion of Greece, like just being Greek. I feel so privileged to be Greek. Every culture is interesting in its own way, right? It's special in its own way. I feel like I could never be anything else other than Greek. I just have a feeling. It's just, I love being Greek. I love Greek design. I love Greek music. And it's varied, right? Because it has always evolved over time. Greek food. It's just everything about Greece is something that I love, even the challenging parts at times. So,
where is your family from in Greece? Do you guys have like a lineage that you kind of go back to? Like, oh, we always go back to this spot because this is where like a Yampapu or whatever.
So our roots are from Sparti and Corfu and Poros.
Oh, that's so cool.
So
That's
both
so
islands.
cool. Yes. I have such an interest in going to like Corfu, and I don't know when I'll get there. Like it's like almost every summer it's like, yeah, I'm going to go. And then something changes and I just can't like swing it. But I find that island to be fascinating with just like the meld of cultures and the architecture and all the colors and traditions. I'm like very drawn to it. Very, very drawn to it.
It's very nice to visit during Easter time too. They have various Easter traditions that are special to Corfu.
Yeah. Yeah. That's on the bucket list. Definitely on the bucket list. But yeah, tell us about the magazine, how it kind of, came from, the past with the comic strips. I love that. And I love the family newsletter. Like, I actually think that's fantastic. People could still do that these days because, maybe it would encourage a little bit more connection to at times, right? We're such a digital world. But talk to us about how the magazine kind of was born and maybe what it is today or how it's grown.
Sure. So back in the day when I was in university with my sister, she's younger than me, the eldest. And in thinking about it, it's like one of those things that, yes, it takes a lot of planning, right? It's not something you do on the spot, but I don't really recall planning it out much. I just recall this feeling that I want to take a piece of Greece with me when I'm back in the US, and I want to share that with other people in a meaningful way and in a way that I enjoy, like a combination of words and photos. And I really, really enjoyed print. We grew up with many books in the house,
Mm-hmm.
So it made sense to me. Looking back, to most people, it didn't make sense because it was at a time when people were saying print is dead. And I myself was, I was lucky enough to get internships at really good places in Chicago. I was at the Chicago Sun-Times and Fox News, and CBS News, and print and TV anyway. But it was a time where I would see news teams like shrink. Like I was there,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next week, people were fired, right? So there was this whole thing back then about everything is going digital and print is dead. And some people even said that to me, like, "Oh, you did a print magazine. Like, how did that even happen? Like, print is going." Well, we are a book. We're not
Right.
we're not a news source. So it really, digital storytelling is great for news because you can update news on the spot and you can get the very latest, and that's perfect. And we are something different. We're a leisurely read. We are an annual print publication that is research based. So Portis magazine is basically a collection of stories about Greek history, culture, art, cuisine, destinations, ecology. It's a collection of things that inspire me personally and I want to share with others. And in the very beginning, it was very fun with my sister. I remember we were trying to figure out what shape and size we wanted for the magazine, what paper. I'm really into matte
Yeah.
paper. This is a kind of square look. It's
Yeah.
not actually a square. People
Yeah.
don't know that, but it looks like a square. So yeah, it's really a project of passion and something that came out of our own creativity. The original Portes logo came about when I was on a shuttle bus ride from one campus to another in downtown Chicago at Loyola University. And I had no pen on me, but I was doodling with this highlighter,
Mm-hmm.
these highlighters, and they're thick, right? And so I was just writing, whatever. And then something came out and I was like, this is going to be the logo. That's it. So it was super, super fun because what I really want to say is that we started from completely from scratch. Like we had no mentors. We had no like guidelines for publishing. We didn't look up any information of like, what's the best size for a print? Nothing.
Right.
Everything was straight from the heart, like literally we created it. Yes, my background is in journalism, so I was trained as a journalist. So in terms of what writing was included in the book itself, I have been professionally trained. But other than that, in terms of the creative part, we designed everything ourselves. So it was super, super, super fun. Yeah. And it was definitely a huge learning process.
I bet. I bet.
Super fun. And so fast forward, we kind of stopped publishing during COVID, which is
Mm-hmm.
when you started,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And we decided that it was time for a redesign. So we took a break. And I remember being in the airplane from Athens to Chicago. And usually I get these really fun and exciting ideas whenever I'm up in the clouds. Like I say that literally my brain is up in the clouds.
Yeah.
So I got this idea to launch the book again.
Okay.
We had put a pause on it and we didn't really know. We hadn't said that we're going to continue or not. And so then on my way back, I was visiting Athens and I went to Delphi to seek advice. One can say. And I
Sure.
remember I was visiting the museum and there was this stunning figure, this stunning statue, a man, and I photographed him and he became what is the cover of the first redesigned Portes. So it
So cool.
really, I was just like, I went back home and I saw the photos. I'm like, this is my cover. And this is going to be the theme of the next book too. The theme was like Delphi
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So everything comes from inspiration. And one time I had said back in the day when the book was new, they're like, oh, how did you come about this? And how did you think about this? I was like, I don't know. One day I was asleep and the next day I woke up and there was a magazine. So it was a
Literally.
blur.
Feels like that. Yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really a blur. Like a ton of work that goes into it. But we're very happy to do it. And by the way, it's the work that goes into Portis is all done on a volunteer basis. It is published by Ariston Foundation for Hellenic Culture and Art, which runs several small programs that are supporting of the preservation and promotion of Hellenic culture and art in the English language. And Portis magazine is the largest project so far. It is an annual print. It is printed in Greece so that it can be a made
Mhm.
in Greece product. We want it to be authentic in that way. It is over 140 pages, full color. Stories are written by experts. So each book is dedicated to a specific theme. Last year, for example, it was the post-war Greece of the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, and really the golden era of Greek cinema, arts, and business, etc. Before that, it was the Cycladic culture. And before that, we had a dedicated book to traditional Greek attire, costumes, 1821. So each year we have a theme. Everyone asks, they're like, yeah, who's involved in it and how can I write for it? And so those who write are passionate people. They're Greeks and non-Greeks. It's Greeks living abroad, non-Greeks living in Greece. Everyone has a true passion for Greece. And they are people like photographers, museum curators, researchers, historians, people who have dedicated part of their lives to projects that also support the preservation and promotion of Hellenic culture and art. So yeah, super exciting to always meet these people. Like, for example, our latest book had over 40 participants.
Wow.
Yeah, featured contributors. Yes, we are very, very lucky, very honored. These people are, for example, founders of museums, founders of programs. They are authors, published authors. They are people with a lot of passion for what they do. And of course, we have younger participants as well who are just starting off. Every single year we receive requests from people, usually in Europe and the US, who surprisingly are not Greek, but they are studying Hellenic culture or something that has to do with Greece in their university. And they reach out to us asking to be part of the magazine. And I accept them with much joy because I'm very, very happy to hear from young people, especially. And I remember when I myself, would write to editors in chief that I'm interested in working with them, and it would be very nice to hear back from them and get their feedback. So always open to nice synergies, and definitely Portes is a channel through which people can share their passion for Hellenic culture and arts.
Somebody you had in the last magazine, she did the cover too, Theodora Miller, or she's one of the covers. It's so I met her. This is her cover is stunning. And I have one of her 7 wishes because when I was doing my doctoral work, her neighbor was like my best friend in the program. We had never met before. And he was like, do you know Theodora Miller? And I'm like, no, I mean, maybe, but you know how Greeks, it's like sort of, right? And he's like, yeah, she's my neighbor. And through that, I met her, and she's just such a light in what she's done with, like her textiles and her painting. And I'm like, that's so cool. It's all born from kind of a personal tragedy, right? She didn't necessarily paint a ton before all this happened, and it was part of her rehab, which I think it's just neat to see that. When I saw her cover, I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's really cool as a person. She flew in for our launch party in September. That's when I met her for the first time in person, and she was a subscriber from a couple of years ago. And I looked, because we look everyone up, we're like, okay, cool, you're an artist. And so we decided to include Theodora Miller in this because she has this message to give of like a positive message for the future. Like the cover says, Ευτυχία, like happiness, Irini, peace, the 7 wishes, right? And I thought it matched perfectly because the book was dedicated to post-war Greece. And, Greece was a very poor country, is a very poor country. And Greece are hospitable people. They are generous people. They are caring and loving people, and they really give their all. So this was the perfect cover, I think. It was like the wishes for the future ahead for Greece. And so, yeah, very, very cool. Theodora Miller's work is like you said, it came out of tragedy, but as she explained, she didn't force herself to do anything. It was just something that came easy to her. And like now she has an entire collection. That's super cool.
Yeah.
And part of what we want to do with Portes is open doors for artists, emerging artists, to be seen in a very creative and artistic way. So owning a piece of Portes is like owning a piece of artwork for your coffee table.
Yeah.
And on each cover, well, we used to start off with 2 different covers, but now I made the editorial decision to feature 4 artists on every cover. And
Yeah.
that's another super fun thing that subscribers, recipients of Portis magazine love about the Portis experience, is that they get to select, and it's a difficult choice for many, they say,
It is. It is.
but they get to select and collect their favorites, the one that matches their home, for example, or their
Yeah.
feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember did that with the Giglades run, and it was hard. It was really, really hard to like figure out which one. And then it's sitting next to my TV, kind of like on a stand, because it is a piece of art. It's really striking and beautiful.
This is Cacao Rocks, Yasanas, it's his actual
Yeah.
name. Yeah, super cool, nice guy, fun artist. Yeah, very like simple lines and everything, but
Yeah.
very inspirational as well, and also inspired.
Hmm. Yeah. I think that's so cool when how there's so many similarities, like just talking about, you know, how art or something that you're passionate about just sort of arrives in your lap. And that's not to trivialize it, to say that there's not a lot of work. Of course, there's a ton of work. That is like a non-even discussion point, but it's that the idea melds, that it falls together. It like congeals into this really kind of beautiful expression of, I think, what is heart centered for people. And we don't necessarily see that a lot. I think we see it significantly in our Greek culture. Like you see it in dance and in music and stuff like that. But when things all come together, it's just like this view into who you are as a person that you can push externally. But it's not necessarily talking about you, right? Like the podcast is a huge passion project. In my doctoral work, I have maintained that like my doctoral project was on nurse leader satisfaction and preventing burnout, right? And I've always maintained that if you have something outside of your day to day that you're really passionate in, it'll make you a better leader for like your 9 to 5, right? And for me, that's the podcast. As much as it's like a lot of work at times, it's just such a passion project. And it's something that's so important to who I am at my core, right? To that part of me, like just growing up Greek dancing, being super involved in folk tradition and music and so on and so forth. And you can see that when you pick up a product that has people's passion that's driving it, right? Because it really reads like a storybook. It's like you can read a chapter, I mean, the stories are not necessarily connected, but they have resounding themes that are very similar. And it's not like a magazine read. It's like literally picking up a piece of history, and really getting deep into it. So kudos to you all for being able
Thank
to put
you
an
so much.
imprint.
Thank you so much. It really is a passion project, and it is a ton of work, but it's passion driven. And when it's passion driven, it's almost like you're crazy about it in a good way, right? And it's very fulfilling in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I have always, always loved Greek things. Like I said, design, destinations, everything. I've always loved it. But I never imagined when I started this that I would be called an ambassador for Hellenic culture and art, which I'm now called that. And I'm invited to speak at different places in Greece and in the US. I was awarded last year, which was super cool, in Boston. Like
Okay.
that was not a goal.
Yeah.
The goal was to put together this collection that I thought was pretty cool, like really cool, and like put it together in a neat way and then share it with people. And like you said, that you started something, right? But it's not about you. It is about you, but it's not. It also involves others, right? So this project that I started, I'm so, so happy that it helps others and that it brings people together. You don't know how many times I've heard like people telling me that they've met each other through the magazine because they were both featured in it, and then they started a synergy together. Some people that are in the magazine don't need an introduction because they are historical figures, but for others, I'm very proud to say that we are the first feature, the first print or news article or feature or interview that they've ever had. And they're very passionate and creative people, but no one had ever written about them.
Sure.
So that's super cool when we hear that we also are a channel for them in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And what brings me the most joy from this, aside from the creative part of putting it together, I really enjoy it. The design element is the times that I hear from people that they have been inspired to do something, anything. Some people are inspired to visit Greece. Literally, like I visited Greece after I read the book. I booked my ticket. I'm like, okay, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Others are inspired to start drawing again because they read an inspirational story.
Yeah.
So it's really, really fun.
Yeah.
What they're inspired
It's
to.
fantastic.
I'm happy
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I think this is a testament to really harnessing your purpose, even if you don't necessarily like it can meld and change. If it's really your purpose, something will come of it, something will fall into place later on too. That just makes everything sort of work together. But I think if we avoid what we're really driven to purpose wise, we're not leading the lives that we should be leading, just my advice for people. People can take it or leave it, but I really believe in it.
I'm an artist by birth, I guess you can say. I always like to draw and create things. So I think that that's what keeps me alive, really. Yes, I could be good at, I don't know, in journalism or great at marketing. I have great ideas. I do for other companies, right? I do consulting in communications and marketing. And yes, my work might be excellent to them, right? But and I'm proud of that too. That's great. I enjoy that part of my life as well. But what I enjoy the most really is this project, which again is done on a volunteer basis, right? And I would love to see it continue bringing people together through the book and through events. I just want this to spark inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah. I certainly think it does. I know, and for those of you who might be listening who have never, read from it, I encourage you to, even just going on your website and seeing, the articles, stories that you have highlighted, I think gives you just like a snippet of, what it's about. But what's on the future? What's next? Maybe even the next issue or, what's on your horizon?
Yeah. So super fun times. We just this month started recovering from the last issue.
I bet.
And when I say recovering, like my email inbox is full to the brim and we're trying to get back to everyone. And it's not a mainstream thing, but there's so much interest from people that we're like, okay, we have to get back to everyone. So that's a great problem to have after
Exactly.
in the Athens. So recovering from that, the launch of that last one, and we have started the next one. The theme is Greeks and the seas, sailors, ships, and sirens.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
very excited. And we are currently putting together our list of contributors for the 2026 book. And we very much look forward to it. We also look forward to some smaller events that will be held in Greece.
Nice.
And we look forward to seeing everyone. And if anyone is interested in being part of the book, we are always very open and welcoming. Please feel free to reach out and we would be happy to speak.
Awesome. Anthe, this was fantastic. Thank you for sharing so much about the genesis of Portes and, also really can appreciate hearing how driven you are for this and how connected you are. And also that, you said, and you stressed this a few times that like everybody is welcome, right? I think that is critical to keeping these traditions and elevating, being able to talk about what we love about our culture, that we just all have to be welcoming and open. And I really appreciate that in what you're doing, because I think that gives also the people, like another friend of mine is a huge fan of the magazine and, she's not Greek at all, right? But Greece is where she goes. She volunteers there every summer. She does this, that, and the third. And I think she found like her community within friends from the book.
Super cool. Like I'm telling you, the outreach that I received after this event that we had in Athens, it's very lovely to see because I hear people's stories and it's mostly women.
Sure.
We're not exclusively open to women. We're open to everyone, of course. but very, very passionate. Like, I would like to say, in a good sense, crazy about Greece, crazy about Greek culture, like everything. It's almost like an identity, even if they were not born Greek. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something beautiful that happens when you go to Greece when like your nervous system just kind of resets. And I think everybody feels that. I think women are more sensitive to that, right? And it'll be interesting even to see how that like somatic thought kind of plays into the theme for the 2026 issue, right? You know, the sea brings a lot of peace to people, even though it's like rugged and can be treacherous and stuff like that. It's home to a lot. So it'll be
it, it,
interesting.
al- it also signifies travel, right? You go on a journey like Odyssea, and then, hopefully going back home. I'm glad to see our community of people passionate about Greece and Hellenic culture growing. And I'm very happy to see people who want to be involved with Ariston Foundation. Those interested can find us online. And through a donation, you can support this project and receive the magazine as a gift, the annual publication. And you are also given access to super fun get-togethers and our upcoming annual event, which this past one was just an amazing event, and hopefully the next one will be even cooler. So looking forward to that and looking forward to meeting people. We truly are a community, and I'm very, very pleased that we have come together to celebrate the most beautiful culture in the entire world, the Hellenic culture. Okay. And I say this with true passion. Like I said, every culture is great in its own way, but there's just one Greece, and Greece inspires, and it has inspired not just Greeks, but the entire world. We are an inspirational people, and I'm very proud of that. So thank you so much for having me. And I hope to meet you in person, hopefully somewhere in beautiful Greece.